So, hello, Tube Radio fans. This is a radio that I just restored. It's a little Philips Philetta. I'll give you the model number in a minute. I don't remember it offhand. Cute little radio. I've always wanted a Philetta, and I managed to pick this one up. Had a couple of minor issues, and quite enjoyed doing the restoration on it. Just by comparison, the size of my hand to the radio. It's not a big radio. Look at the chassis there behind it, or the old cabinet behind it, that I'm using as an external speaker for my test bench. And it's a small radio, but it's a full super, whatever the Germans called it a super, because of all the super heterodyne receivers in it. It's got FM, UKW is the German word for FM, medium wave, shortwave, KV, and long wave, and then a clever little innovation over here, pushing those two down together, the short wave and the long wave, selects the pickup, and you can actually play a record through there. Otherwise, just select make another selection, and you've got sound. So yeah, we're back on radio. I wanted to show you something. Now, right now, I have no external antenna plugged into this radio at all, and it needs a dipole of some sort. And as far as I can tell, this thing didn't have an internal dipole. Looking at the back cover, unfortunately, this one, the back cover is a little bit ruined. So let me just set the back cover over here for you, and you can see, well, there's the model number now. It is a BD274U. All right. But it has a full tube complement, and it's supposed to have a dipole and what they call a high antenna, hoch antenna, so aerial antenna, and a dipole or aerial antenna or long wire antenna, depending on the configuration of the jumper behind. So we'll get to that. Anyway, it's got a full tube complement, ECC 85 on the front end, ECH 81 for the front end of the AM receivers, and then an EF89 for the IF amplifier, and EABC 80 for also IF amplifier and detector, and then an EL84 for the audio amplifier. So let's turn it around and get a look at that. There they are. In addition to the EL84, we also have, what is that? I think it's an I can't remember. That's the rectifier. I can't remember the name of the tube, but that's the rectifier tube. Now, this is one of these radios that can be hot chassis. So putting your fingers and touching the chassis in the back here is not a smart move. I've got mine plugged in the right way around. I've tested it, so I know that it's safe. But even so, fingers stay out. But what I wanted to show you is right now I've got FM selected and no antenna. But I have made this little thing over here, which is a little bit of wire and about 10 turns wrapped around the power cord. And then I've connected it to this little connector over here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug it in to the FM receptacle, and suddenly I have FM reception. So it's using the mains AC supply as an antenna and coupling it in, like I say, with about 10 turns of wire around there. And it tunes up rather well. I'm in the basement of my house right now. And okay, there's one of my neighbors or somebody in the vicinity has something which generates a lot of interference. So you hear this motor boating. That's actually not the radio. All my radios do it when whoever it is turns on whatever they've turned on. But actually, down in the basement, I get really decent reception by making this little coil of wire loop around the main supply. But it's a bit cumbersome in the back there, so I'm going to see if I can find a permanent solution to that. And that is my next step for this project. But first of all, I wanted to just, let me just turn off over there so I'm not going to kill myself. Pull out the plug. There we go. I'm safe. Let me just turn this guy around quickly. And then what we'll do is I'll just take you through the steps that I've already followed so far. First thing that happened was the EABC80 had gone to air, the original. And I've met a bloke not too far from me who has a whole pile of new old stock, still in box tubes. So from time to time when I need a tube, I call him up and he produces the new old stock. There's the old box, straight from Volvo. And this one was actually not an EABC80, this is a UABC80. Now, European tubes that start with the letter U, and actually that's a UL84 and so on. European tubes that start with a U, they tell you that the filament voltage is about, 26 volts or something. It's 20 something volts, 21 volts, I don't remember exactly. 22 volts. It's around 20 volts. Each filament needs 20 volts to heat it up. And the reason is that what they have is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tubes in series. That is the heater. The filaments are in series. So they run at 20 whatever volts. And so 220 volts or 230 volts is what's heating up these tubes now. They also have a dropper resistor in the back somewhere as well, just to add extra ballast, because of course it would take 10 tubes in series to get to about 220 volts, 230 volts. In any case, I had to replace the UABC80. The old one had gone to air. They go that milky color in the top here if they've got a crack and the air has gone into the tube. They also call it the tube is gassed. So that's one thing that I had to do. But before I did that, I knew, like I always do with old tube radios, replace the capacitors. So let's get a look at that. In the back, you can see I've done some capacitor work. So let's stand it up there so I can get some decent light on it. And we'll have a look. I must have replaced, I don't know, a bunch of capacitors. So if we start in the corner here, I don't see anything down there, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There were more. I replaced easily 12, 13 capacitors in here, maybe 15. There was some buried way down that were really not easy to reach that I managed to replace without hurting anybody either, or myself, which was great, or especially not hurting the radio. So I replaced a lot of capacitors. After replacing the capacitors and then also replacing the tube, I fired it up and it was working okay, but the FM reception wasn't so hot. And I've had that in the past where the FM reception tends to go and that, and because especially in the I would say, I suppose, from about the 70s, 80s, FM became big, especially when FM stereo came out, but FM radio became really big. The FM section took a lot of abuse, a lot of plugging in and out. The first thing that I noticed on the radio when searching for the fault was that this FM receptacle over here where the antenna goes in, it's the two outer ones really. The center one is the AM antenna input for the long wire antenna. In any case, that was a little bit worn out and squeezed out at the back. If you look inside the back over here, this connector right here, this one here was bulged out. So it was not making good contact as well. But then I noticed this yellow wire, or no, correction, the green one, was off. So from all the inserting and removing of an external antenna, this wire was off. And this is where I want to come in and try this trick of mine. So like I said to you before, I made this little loop around here on the mains cord. And the mains cord comes in on the other side of the radio. So it's a little bit out of reach, but I reckon if I can find a way in, and right there, sorry, the light's a bit poor here, but right there, where this mains cord has come in at this point, and it runs down and forward over there. If I could turn that coil of wire around there and then run it across to my FM antenna input, then I can have an invisible antenna inside the radio. So that's what I'm going to try. I'll be back with results. Alright, so I'm back to get you back into focus, and I'll show you what I've done. So there's a little orange wire which is running up into the power cord, and I've taped it in position with that blue tape that you can see right down there. And then that little wire runs all the way along down under the piano keys. It's a bit loose because the piano keys, of course, the switches, they come down to make the switch contacts. It runs all the way up here, and I've soldered it on to the input of the antenna jack on the one side. And now we'll have to see if this is going to work. And you'll be discovering this together with me. I've not tested it. Excuse the shaky camera. There's the old one. I haven't removed it yet. So, I know that side is the side I want under my thumb with a screw in when I plug it in so that my chassis is not hot. Give it some power. Turn it on. Now you can see the lights inside have taken up. And let's see what we've got. Always takes a few seconds for this thing to warm up before it starts receiving. And the first thing it's going to start doing is start humming. The other thing that's happening is that this magic eye, it's a little bit weak. You can see it actually does work, but it's a little bit weak. It's not as bright as a new one would be. But we'll deal with that when we get to it. So now it would appear to me that this thing has now actually started receiving worse than before. Or it's picking up more of the interference, which is blocking out the radio stations. So, I don't know. Also, this over here, it's coming in at 95 megahertz, you see right there. I know that this station is actually at about 93.3, so the pointer should actually be sitting right about there. So I might want to do something with that as well. But this is really picking up a lot of interference as well now. Let me just see, there's another Luxembourgish station that should come in at the bottom end of the scale. And it's not doing that. There we go. So I don't know if I've now killed this thing or not. Because somehow earlier on it was working better. We shall see. I'm going to continue experimenting with this. Okay, so I'm back. And now the interference is gone. So whatever happened. I tripped the lights a few times by touching on the wrong thing inside here with a probe. And of course this is live. So you got to be careful. And that somehow stopped the interference. So there's something in the house that's making it. I don't know what. So yeah. That's my signal generator up there, and it's putting out exactly, what's that, 88 megahertz, which is right on the end of the tuning dial band over here, if you can see that, right there, yep, there it is, and tuning across this way. I'm now receiving stations that I normally do receive with an external wire antenna. Maybe not as strong, but certainly strong enough. And when I'm upstairs, it's going to be better. because being down in the basement here, this only helps that much anyway. Hey, Zulu music. That's where I'm from. Pata pata means touch, touch. Yeah, boy. So yeah, there it is. It's working. So it's working. And I got it coming in just around 100 megahertz on the high side as well, which is just great. Running from 87.5 to 100 megahertz as it should. Dial is perfect. Shortwave, don't expect to pick up much here. Just noise. Occasionally we'd get something, but not often. Long wave, 2 French stations.
C'est presque étonnant, puisqu'on a franchement l'habitude maintenant de voir les popularités des
talk
programmes
radio.
publics.
2 very powerful French.
Sonde des petits porteurs, seulement voilà, après avoir fait son mea culpa en se drapant.
Shortwave, this side of the band. We tend to get stuff, but not down in the basement so much. Unless I plug in my external antenna, that works. Take it in there. You can immediately hear the increase in noise. So there's that. So suddenly we also have shortwave. Sometimes a medium wave station comes in, but not much. That's very much an abandoned band. And then we have you. So there we go. Medium wave actually seems to work, or sorry, FM seems to work better when it's just the one antenna that I've got now sorted there. So I'm happy. And there it is. The Philetta is ready to rock and roll. Thanks for watching.